Hello, hello. Good evening, GM.
Hello, Tom. How are you? Good evening.
Good evening once
Thank,
again.
thank you for bringing me up. Hope you're doing
Yeah,
well.
still okay. Still bracing in with the Omicron variant. Oh, just
I stay home. That's the best way to survive it.
yeah, I know. We're supposed to be going to Spain actually for Christmas because my
Oh, nice.
my niece-in-law
Yeah.
is here. So to meet her family because they can't go to the UK, we're thinking
Yeah.
of going to Spain. But
All right.
because of the restrictions,
Yeah.
I think we won't go through anymore.
No, that's
So
bad. But maybe next year. We're
yeah,
looking.
I know.
But we
Yeah.
we say this for 2 years right now. We're looking for next year. So,
I know. We were we were already planning to like go to the Philippines in March because there was supposed to be like the FMA festival, the and it's going to be a big celebration for Lightning Scientific Carnies as well for our
all right.
anniversary.
What anniversary do you have? How many years?
It has to be cancelled now. So it's the I think it's the 85th
Oh, nice.
anniversary. So yeah, but yeah, we have to, because they canceled it, and also the Bayanihan.
Yeah.
So
Understand.
yeah, so everything. I'm going to cancel my plans again. You know, funny. 2000 was it 2020? Yeah, 2020 when everything started. We were planning a massive conference in Coron, Palawan.
Yeah. Nice.
So it was painstaking to plan for it, to get
Yeah.
people going, to get people paying and everything, and then got cancelled.
Everybody's delighted about to go, and everybody likes to go on the beach and do train and do stuff with the members. But yeah, this has to
I
be
know,
cancelled. I know that
I
feeling.
know,
I
I
had
know.
I had to cancel a trip once myself, and I looked forward it for a very long time.
All right.
And but then I had to cancel because I got sick and couldn't go.
Yeah,
So this is depressing. But
I know, I know. It's basically our part of our life now,
yeah,
being being depressed because of these ones, because of cancellations.
cancellations it also influence our daily training.
Yeah,
We need to take
that's true.
care. Because
That's
if you
true.
do martial arts, it's not possible to keep the distance all the time and stuff like
Yeah,
that. And
yeah,
we don't
yeah,
like to risk
yeah. And I
anything.
teach, I teach dance. I teach couple dancing. So
Oh,
we,
nice.
yeah, we have to basically. I teach Argentine tango, so we have
Oh,
to revise a lot of our protocols when we run the classes. So it's really hard.
so you're like Bruce Lee. He was a tango dancer too.
Yeah, thinking, yeah, yeah. I fell in love with martial arts first and then followed by dance. So
Okay.
yeah. Okay. Anyway, good evening, everybody. Thank you for being with us tonight with FMA Discussion episode 236 with GM Tobias Ricker. Good evening, GM.
Hello again.
Before we start,
Pleasure to be here.
let's say hi to those who have tuned in. So we have Audie Miller from North Carolina.
Oh, okay. Hello.
We've got Robert Small from Missouri. We got Eric O'Brien, and we've got Christian from Germany.
Christian. Hey, man. Now it's my time.
Yeah. Yeah. So, guys, if you're watching this interview, please smash the heart button or the like button. And once the interview is finished, uh, everything will be uploaded in the YouTube channel, the FMA YouTube channel. So please share the link, like the link, comment on the YouTube channel as well.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, Robert said in the 80s he taught breakdancing. Really? Wow. Okay. Yeah, back in the 80s I was a breakdancer as well.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I was into Michael Jackson quite a lot back then. So yeah. Okay, so um, as promised, guys. So tonight, uh, GM Tobias Ricker will share with us his journey to martial arts, to FMA, under two very, I said, well known grandmasters. One being Grandmaster Richard Bustillo, and the other one Grandmaster Cacoy Canete. Okay,
That's right.
so take it away, GM.
Yeah. Okay. As Tom already mentioned, I was fortunate enough to train with these two great masters. Actually, I started back in 2001 with Modern Anis, and in 2002 I met Grandmaster Bastillo on a seminar, and the seminar was set up like the IMB Academy seminar. This was a Sifu Richard's system, where he had like 4 sessions. We had like Jeet Kune Do, Thai boxing, grappling, and Eskrima. Eskrima has been the last of this 2-day seminar, and I just went to the seminar to see the FMA part. I wasn't interested in the other stuff, but I had to do the other stuff first. And the way he instructed catched me, and I really liked the way he teach, the things he's shown us, and the principles he liked to understand us, or make us understand. And after the seminar, he had an open question round, and he said, "You can ask me anything." And I raised my hands and asked, "Oh, Sifu, when will you come back?" And he said, "When you will invite me, then I will come back here." So I couldn't sleep for 3 days, and after that, I sent him an email and asked if he'd like to come to Germany to my small place to give a seminar the following year, and we made it happen. And that's how we kicked off in 2003. He came over here, we had a seminar, and from this day on, I try to train with him as much as I can. Of course, he lives in LA, and I'm basically in Germany, so he came here, and I try to go to the seminar places where he travels to in Europe, or also to the United States, to Los Angeles Instructors Conference, to Hawaii, Norway, Sweden, Spain. We travel a lot of places, and yeah, that way I started to train with Grandmaster Bastillo. And in 2005, I went to Los Angeles to Instructors Conference, and on a Sunday morning, Sifu called me and said, "Okay, get out of your hotel room. I will pick you up. We go for breakfast." I said, "Okay." So jumped into his pickup, and we drove to another hotel. And he said, "We'd like to pick up somebody else." And it was Grandmaster Cacoy who we picked up for breakfast.
Oh, wow.
So I was, so I was sitting on the table with these two grandmasters, and I don't know what to say. So I had my coffee and shut up and listened to the guys. But that's how I first met Grandmaster Cacoy. And the following year, Grandmaster Cacoy came to Germany and gave a seminar, and that's where the start. Trained with Cacoy Doce Pares, more intense. So
okay.
this is how all the things came up together. And in 2008, I got invited by Grandmaster Bastillo to go to the Philippines because Cacoy Doce Pares had a big conference, big gathering. Yeah, and we went to the Philippines for 4 weeks. The meeting was like, I think 1 week going on, and the rest of the time we had training sessions at the headquarters. Now you could show the video of the Parisot. However, just like I mentioned before, people always ask me how it is to train in the Philippines. What's the difference? And let's have a look in.
Okay. So I'm just gonna lower myself down. Feel free to talk, and then just let me know. Okay.
Yes. I can't hear you anymore. But now, okay. Yeah, this is actually Grandmaster John on the left and Master Dino on the right. Master Dino is my training partner for now almost 20 years. And this is what they do, is the basic drill in free flow. And as you see, it can become quite intense. Yeah. Palusot means to pass or to go around an obstacle. And that's what we always try to do. We don't try to block the energy, stop it, and do something from there. We like to go with the flow, and we like to strike from there. And this is basically, that's the end of the video. Okay.
Yeah,
that's basically the idea of the drill, because we don't like to stop energy. We like to go with it, and we like to work from there.
yeah. So the idea is basically to ride your opponent's energy and work your way around it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because if you go force against force,
Mm-hmm.
then you have resistance.
Yeah.
It's like a handshake.
Mm-hmm.
If you handshake somebody and it's tight, this tightens and this tightens too, that is a straight connection. You can pull each other. But if you have somebody grabbing hard,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one is like a dead fish in his hand, like no muscle,
Yeah.
you cannot pull the other guy. The hand moves, but not the body behind it. So basically, you need a lot of sensitivity to make it work, and to control the other hand before he recognizes what's happening.
Okay.
That's the basic idea of the drill. And then the next step is control of the stick, and don't get catched by the left hand of your opponent, by the left hand.
By the alive hand.
So you go around the left hand, you go around the obstacles you have, and you try to hit through it. So that's basically what Grandmaster John showed before in that video. Grandmaster John has been like a 20-year #1 sparring partner of Grandmaster Cacoy, so almost on a daily basis he sparred with him. So he's like, there's no better source to be closer to Grandmaster Cacoy. And I'm very thankful that he showed us some of the stuff. Even I need to say it was uncomfortable after 2 weeks.
Right. So, okay, let's backtrack a little bit um, before the Philippines. Okay.
Yes.
So how long have you been training with GM Bastillo, and what were the, I say, memorable moments that you can share with us training with him?
There has been, okay, I trained like 15 years with him as much as I can because of the distance and we had, and but I tried to set up his seminar circuit in Germany and drive him from one place to the other if I had the time and possibility to do so. Also, I followed him in the different places he went, like Sweden and Norway, like I said before, and Paris, France, of course. And training with him was like, he didn't spread out too many techniques in a seminar.
Yeah.
It's not like in a 2-minute tech there's a new technique. Instead, he gave like the basic principle, and then he make you move on training. First, you have you're standing still, you're doing the technique in the air, then you do it with the partner, and then they start moving around, maybe with focus pads or whatever, and then you add what has been your own. He gave an example for how you can do a follow-up, but the next stage is to add your own flavor to the principle and technique. And this is the idea of Jeet Kune Do. It's individual and your own flavor. You are not the exact copy of your teacher,
Okay.
but you have the same repertoire, but maybe a different handwriting.
All right. Okay.
That's like he always explained it. And for me, that was very good because I cannot remember a lot of techniques at that once. So yeah, he highly went into. He was a fan of training your basics. Like he made me start rope skipping for balance, back and forth, and double and blah blah blah. And for strength training to strengthen the body, then for footwork and um, all the angles of attack you have, the combinations you can strike. So most of the time when he wasn't with me, I trained at home and just trained the basic stuff he showed me in his drills.
Okay.
We had the car tire you can hang up on the ceiling, so you can use the stick to hit it for resistance.
Yeah.
I used this a lot, of course, the heavy bag, because Sifu was also an amateur boxer when he was younger, so his heart was with boxing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He loved Manny Pacquiao, by the way, because he was a great he is a great champion.
Yeah. Yes.
And the most memorable, the best moment of training, I really cannot say. There have been so many moments with him, but it has been a pleasure on the mat and outside the mat, because he was a generous man. When we went to Los Angeles to the instructors conference, after the training, we all went to a restaurant, and Sifu had a jacket with a black jacket with all the flags of different countries where he gave seminars on.
All right.
And a girl from, I think she was from Italy, sitting across the table, and she said, "Oh, I like your jacket." And he said, "Oh, well, yeah." So he handed it over to her, and it fit a bit big because she was female, and then she'd like to give it back, and Sifu said, "Oh no, it's yours now. I cannot take it back. I gave it to you as a present." And
Oh wow.
it came out of nothing, and that's how he was. Like he was very generous in this part.
Yeah.
Or he also picked me up from the airport when I arrived in Los Angeles, because I arrived late in the night, and he said, "No, you don't wait outside the airport on that time. I will pick you up." And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anybody else who would have done that. So he was down to earth, and he helped me out a lot. So and he also tried to hook me up all the time, because that time I was single.
Hook it up. Okay.
We couldn't go in a single restaurant where he didn't ask the waitress, "Do you know my friend Tobias, by the way?" No, so it's like it's a.
So how many times did this happen?
I stopped counting at like 50. I don't know. Funny enough, I met my wife at the Jeet Kune Do training in Frankfurt later on. So indirectly, he hooked me up.
Okay. All right. Okay. So he succeeded in the end.
In the end, he succeeded. Yes, absolutely.
So I can see that your relationship with GM Richard is really close. So you're.
Uh, that's a problem with Sifu, because he made everybody feel special.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay.
so every place he goes, everybody thinks he's the only one, or he's very close to him. But in fact, we all are, because he had the IMB Ohana, the IMB family, and he treated us all as like family members, and that was very special to him.
Mm. Which is
So
good. I mean, I find it admirable
yeah, it
for
is absolutely.
grandmasters to
The,
be like that.
the interesting thing was when I went to LA to see the IMB Academy live first time. I stepped in and saw all the older students from IMB, which I haven't met before, my
Okay.
seniors and that time. But everybody was friendly, good camaraderie, and from the beginning on, it was a pleasure to stay there and to hang out with the people even after training, and talk about stuff. And that's because he created that IMBO HANA and hold it together and make everybody feel good and right. So yeah, that's a point I really appreciate.
Okay.
Because still today I have some good connections to the Los Angeles students or wherever they are right now around the world.
Okay. All right. I'll ask you a little bit more about GM Richard and your training with him. But let's just say hi to a few people who just tuned in. Dennis.
Dennis.
Yeah, he has a few questions for you.
I thought so.
You've got Emmanuel Hart from France.
Hello.
You've got Jan Scudero from
Hey,
Israel.
hey, John, Master
Yeah.
John.
You've got Instructor Conrad from Bora Bora.
Hello. Bora Bora sounds good.
So, guys, if you just tune in, so please smash the heart button or the like button. If you got any question for GM Tobias with regards to maybe his training with GM Bustillo, Richard Bustillo, or uh, GM Cacoy, please feel free to put it in the comment section. Yeah. So at least he can share those moments with them. Christian has a question here. Have you met Ted?
Have you met
Ted.
Tent?
Ted. Christian, who's Ted? Well, I don't know. Maybe somebody from the IMB because
No, didn't get it. Okay. Maybe he can write again. We'll check here. I have it open on a
yeah,
server.
Dennis commented on the video that you showed. He showed a lot of pain as well in that video. Oh,
um,
okay.
yeah,
Audi said it must be Ted Wong.
Ted Wong. No, I haven't met Ted Wong actually. Um, he did a video with C4 Richard, which you still can see on YouTube. They don't talk; they just do the techniques of Bruce Lee and what it was at the time. And also, I think one of Ted Wong's students have written a book about the straight lead, and this has been filmed at the IMB Academy. Richard gave the permission because I need the space to photograph it. But I haven't met him in person, unfortunately. I always tried to do, but I missed it out, and yeah, now it's too late.
I see. Christian said it was a joke because Sifu Bustillo tried to hook you up. He got it from How I Met Your Mother. I got a question. Dennis said, don't stress, Toby." Um, Toby has a question. You did a lot of different martial arts like boxing or JKD with your master and friend GM Bustillo. What is so special for your love to the art of Eskrima?
That's a very good question, actually, because I like to train a martial art with starting with weapons first. But it was hard to find on that time, and so I never started with martial arts. We had a Hapkido club close to us or judo, but I like to have some weapons. And when I worked as a banker, one of the security guys told me, "Oh, we got this new thing about stick fighting. Have you heard about it?" I said, "Stick fighting? No, never heard about Filipino stick fighting. No." So yeah, we'll come over to my place and I will show you some stuff. And I did for some reason, and I really liked it. But 2 months later, the guy moved away, and I never have heard anything back from him.
Okay.
So then I started to search out for Filipino martial arts in my area, and then I find the Modern Arnis group in Frankfurt. And what I like especially on FMA is things are transferable. You have double stick, which you can transfer to empty hands. You can transfer double stick also to single stick and the live hand. things are interchangeable, and you don't have to learn too many techniques. You have to understand the concepts, how to transfer, which makes things easier to handle, and you are a lot of you have even more tools available. Doesn't matter if you are barehanded, if you have a glass of beer, or if you have a knife or a sword or whatever. You can use the weapon, not maybe to the perfect level of the weapon's possibilities, but you can use it to defend yourself. And I really like this aspect because you see so many things which you can transfer from double stick or double knife to empty hands. Of course, a stick is a stick and not a sword, but the principles are close to each other, and you just have to do some adaptations to make it work for you at least. And that's what I love on FMA in general, and on Cacoy Doce Pares. It was Grandmaster Cacoy never let it doubt that he can do this or that. He just showed it on the mat. He stand up, and Grandmaster John came over, and they start to do sparring, and he proved that he can do the stuff in full speed. I was like, okay, that's a level of perfection which I haven't seen before, and I like to learn the stuff. I like perfection, and it is a long way to get it, and you will never stop. And this exactly is what motivates me, because every time you learn new things, Eskrima offers you new things when you reach a new level of skill. Then Eskrima give it to you and shows you, okay, there are other possibilities you can use now you couldn't use before. And and that's what I like on the Filipino martial arts. And it is a complete art. You have punching, kicking, you have weapons, you have grappling, you have locks, you have everything.
Did you have because you started with Modern Ernest, then you went to GM Richard Mustilio. Did you have a hard time doing some transitions?
Actually, the numbering system, which is 12 angles of attack, this concept is very widespread in the Filipino martial arts. Not all the time like 12 angles. We have like 5 angles for maybe Lago stuff, and we have, I don't know, Bikiti Tisha has, I think, more than 12 angles. But the principle of the angles of attack and also some of the drills, different systems have in common.
Yeah, that's true.
Like you can do from the double stick, you can use an empty hand technique, and almost every system I have seen using such transitions to go. And it helps to see if you go different styles. If you already know some of those drills, then they can easily start in and get finer points of the other system.
Okay, so at least you found some things are kind of like identical.
Yeah, some things, as Bruce Lee said, we always have 2 arms and 2 feet and 1 head, so people coming to the same solutions all around the world. But some bring perfection to different aspects. Like Grandmaster Cacoy on Koto. Maybe you see the Lago Mano of Yojiron. Actually, I like to see all those different styles and like to see how the people move. And I'm always in awe when some people have the perfect technique, the perfect timing, the perfect distance.
I know,
out of the flow, and you think this is not possible, but how are you doing it?
Yeah, that's true.
The answer is every time the same. They train. They don't talk about the technique.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things with the grandmasters, because it's almost like that's what they do day in and day out.
Yep.
So
that's what Grandmaster Cacoy told me, because I asked him, how you became better than all of your brothers. All of his brothers, he had like eight brothers, has been escrimadors. And he said, I trained every day. I trained 7 days a week, 2 times a day. And I needed to be ready because he was the head of the style and that time. And people come around on Sundays most time to challenge him. And then he said, you need to be ready. I couldn't skip my training because I needed it. And that's why he became so good. He trained like 90 years. He started with 5 years old and he became 96 years old. So he trained 91 years. That's incredible.
That's incredible. I mean, it's almost like all the skills are basically second to their nature now.
Yeah.
And that's why they don't think about it anymore.
And this is what makes people who start today don't see too much, because when they witness to see what the grandmaster is doing, the grandmaster showing some technique like blocking and locking and stuff, everybody thinks, okay, I have seen the technique, I can do it as well. That's partly true, but you also need to have the skills which are necessary to do the technique. And people missing out the basics today.
Yeah.
My feeling, I would like to consume technique, okay, but to go back to your basics, because there is no advanced technique, there's only a combination of basics. So
exactly.
if you have your basics ready, the rest will come up.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that kind of like, I would say, plaguing the industry at the moment.
Yeah, so it's also from my feeling, it happened with the internet too. First, when we started, it was hard to find out somebody who know about a seminar. You need to know somebody who need to know somebody, and then you maybe get a flyer of a strange place where you could go, and there might be or not it's a seminar. And when the internet came up, everything spreads out, which was good on the one hand. On the other hand, you also have people like buying certificates in the internet and claiming they are this and that, and and also with this new generation of people coming up, which grow up with the mobile phone. My feeling is they don't have the patience anymore to do things like drill like half an hour. No, that's too long. It's like switching. 10 seconds later, okay, give me a new one. No, that's martial arts. If you like to get your skills, you have to repeat. That's the only way you can learn. Repeat, repetition, and pain.
Yeah, basically. That's very true. Yep, they go together.
Yeah, need to come together, and then you need also use your mind. If you have trained and have pain, you need to reflect why.
Yeah,
and you need to stop it for next time.
Exactly. And if the pain is steadily increasing, then there's something wrong.
Then there's something wrong. Or you like to have it this way.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. We've got some comments here. Oh, Dean Franco is actually on.
Hello, Dean.
Hi. Yeah. Dennis commented, Toby told about 2008, he took me with him to Cebu. At the end of this month, I said, Toby Cacoy for me is a holy man. There is something shining out of him. It was incredible.
Yeah, he was like that. Actually, when he entered the room, everybody noticed him to be there without looking. Yeah, that's how I felt it. Don't know how. And also, as he was a funny guy, he was telling jokes all the time. He liked to wrote a book about jokes, like 600 jokes he had ready, but it hasn't been published. And so when you sit around with him, you were constantly laughing. And if you go to the mat, he was laughing when he throwed you around or striked you. because he enjoyed it so much to do what he loved.
Yeah.
And sometimes it feels different on the end of his stick, because you get punched, you get striked, you get locked, you get thrown to the floor, and he's laughing, and he said, I enjoy the stuff. I said, okay, that's fair for me. Then I sparred with somebody else, and also the guy hit me all the time, and Cacoy was laughing, and I said, Grandmaster Cacoy, why are you laughing? Do you like to see me in pain? He said, no, I'm laughing because I know what you will do when you will come back next year. So it will be your time to give back. I said, I highly doubt it, but I will try. Yeah, you couldn't help to laugh with him. One of his favorite jokes. You know about the 3 rings in a man's life?
Okay. Okay. Go on.
It's first the engagement ring.
Mm-hmm.
After this is the wedding ring,
Yep.
and after this the suffering.
Life lessons from Mami Makoy.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got some from Audie here. I love the forearm wrist power punching taught by Sifu Bastillo and the Mukjong. The exercises are perfect for FMA. Amazing.
Um, Actually, he had a forearm training tool. They had the hand gripper of Bruce Lee. This has been actually a plate, a white plate, and
Mm-hmm.
you can grip and lift it. It had
Oh yeah,
on the
yeah.
side.
I do. I've seen those in photos.
I think the one at the IMB Academy was the original one made by Herb Jackson. He also had a stick about like 90 centimeter long, and a weight, a small weight, putting over the stick, and then you snapped your wrist like this.
Okay.
This is the motion for the 1-inch punch. So when you do it right,
Oh, okay.
it snaps down, and the weight comes down. If you don't do it right, it shakes, and it doesn't the weight come down. So both of these training methods are great, and he also showed me another one where you have a usual training stick, you drill a
Mm-hmm.
hole in the middle, you put a rope through it,
Mm-hmm.
and the other side of the rope you put around a weight, and then you roll it up with your
Yeah.
hands, roll it up and roll it down and
Yeah.
up side. You can do everything here,
Mm.
and this is also a great training tool for the forearms,
Yeah. It is.
because but you should take care to don't do too much in addition to just stick training when you hit like the tires.
Yeah.
If you do too much, you get an inflammation in the arm, and
Yeah.
then you cannot train for several weeks.
Yeah. You're gonna have tennis elbow, golfer's elbow, might have wrist injury, all those sorts.
I had
Yeah.
all of it, and my doctor knows me well.
Yeah. Audie said, yeah, the roller type. Yeah, because I think even outside martial arts, actually, I see uh, this is being used in gyms as well to
Yeah,
be able to get forearm strength and even definition on the forearm.
yeah,
So it's a good way to get rip on the forearm.
yeah, and also there are some interesting drills with the stick you can do to get a better grip on the stick and stronger hands. Um, there are multiple things you can do about that. So if you are bored at home, you have COVID-19, you watched out everything in Netflix, you can do on your own forearm training, you can do push-ups on sticks and stuff like that. So you never get bored if you if you have all of that. And yeah, Sifu Bastillo was always uh, great about training with resistance.
Yeah.
So shadow box was nice at the end of the class, but during the class, we like to hit focus pads or sticks or tires or whatever was available. But you need to make contact. You need to make field resistance to become stronger, better, and faster.
Okay. Did GM Richard Bustillo change the way his methods when he's basically teaching a class, when he's teaching in seminars, and when he's teaching one on one?
Basically, this need to be different because in the class you have it's a repetition thing. So people will come back next week or in 2 days or whatever. So you can cover more details on a daily class as you can cover details on a seminar, because his seminars have been 3 hours or 10 hours. The short hour. So in 3 hours we usually cover 2 topics, maybe Jeet Kune Do and grappling, or eskrima and Thai boxing, or boxing and grappling, whatever people like to see. And on a weekend seminar, like 10 hours, we had the Jeet Kune Do, and we had the grappling, we had the Thai boxing, and we have the eskrima Kali. So, but then you just have like 2.5 hours for every topic, and you need to make sure people understand and take something back from the seminar.
Yeah, that's really important.
Yeah. Because I have been on some seminars, and for me it has been too much technique, and I couldn't remember after the seminar what we really have done or what I like to remember. Then I started to make small pictures of people standing and boxing and stuff, but 1 hour later you already don't know which context it has, so it's useless. Now we have the videos, which is better.
I know. I know. Before we have to take notes.
And on a personal, if a one-on-one training, he always knew what I was weak in. So he watched me on the seminar, and I said, Sifu, I like to go through the kicks. No, you first do your jab first. You work your jab. That's a horrible jab. You need to have jab cross bang. And I said, okay, well, let's do this. And when he left, he told me to do drill 1, 2, 3 until he will show up. And the next time he watched me in the seminar moving, he don't come to me and ask me for, can you show me this? No, he watched me the complete seminar, and then he said, okay, your boxing became better because you did the drill. You haven't done the eskrima drills I showed you. I can see that. Okay. And so he was very watching you.
Okay.
And he really went into it. After I trained 10 years with him, we finished the seminar, and he came to me and said, Tobias, that has been the very first time you haven't completely sucked on boxing. That was so. Thank you, Sifu. He was smiling and he was walking away.
well, I mean, that's a coach for you.
Yeah.
He needs to tell you what basically your weakness. So yeah. Okay. We've got some reactions here, comments from the discussion earlier. Absolutely, development of skills, techniques becomes easy. Yep. If you understand your foundation, your core skills, techniques is always easy. And Odi said to repeat and returning to basics. Yep.
That's an important part of training in distance. So Los Angeles and Frankfurt is far away. So you have to keep motivate yourself, and consistency is important. But the problem is, like with every training, in the beginning you will make progress, but then there will be a time there is no progress, or even it goes down.
Or it goes down, yes.
And if this will happen, the only thing you can do is stop what you're training right now, go back to the basics.
Yeah.
To the very basics. You start with your footwork, you go through all the angles of attack, you move back forward, and this will help you to come out of of stagnation or
Yeah, that's
things.
very true. Very true.
That's the
Very,
only way to get out from my experience.
yeah. Okay. That's actually a good advice. That's a good advice because I mean if you're not managing to understand what you're doing, that means there's something missing from your basics. So you
Yeah.
have to go back to your basics. Where's the key?
Yeah, and sometimes just the body needs time to change himself, because
Yeah, that's true.
due to constant training, which is a constant development of skills
Mm,
and attributes, and at a point maybe the body needs a break to bring this all together. It feels for me like that, and then you give it a break because you go back to your very basics, remind the body what's important, and then you can go on
yeah.
and become better.
Yeah, that's true. Um, Christian asked a question here. Well, you can answer this later or you can answer this now.
Yeah.
Where do you see the future of FMA?
Hmm. Where do I like to see it, or what I think about what will happen? Um, what I like, what I don't like actually is when people popping up, buying certificates and stuff, and going for instructor seminar for 2 days and haven't done anything before, and they claim they are like instructor for whatever style.
Yeah, that's true.
This is not only FMA problem. This happens in all martial arts right
Mm.
now.
Yeah.
Because this is also dangerous for people, because people think they're learning stuff to defend themselves by
Mm.
somebody who don't have the knowledge.
Yeah.
Also, it feels for me like this is dishonorable of real masters, right? Real
Mm.
masters,
Mm.
they trained their skill and they fighted
Yeah.
for what they have, and you downloading something and claim to have the same. I mean, that's nothing I like to see. What I like to see and what happens more and more is that different style comes together, training together, um, exchanging ideas,
Yeah.
and having a good time. And Master John Escudero, he has been in Germany, I think 2 years ago or 3 years,
Mm.
I can't remember. When Christian told me Master John Escudero will come, I said, "Yeah, let's go." And it was a great seminar because I learned a lot. I learned a lot of my weaknesses about stances and distance for the Espada y Daga maybe, or whatever. Lightning has different concepts for, as we do, and
Mm.
it was good to see that other people work hard to keep up the legacy of their style.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you can see basically he says the same thing, and you need to have your basics right. And I would love to see the styles coming more together and exchange and cross train with each other. But due to COVID, this is a setback again.
It's a great setback actually for everybody because of this pandemic. Yeah, but I mean, there's still other ways to do it, like maybe like because at least now you can save from the travel. We can still have like seminars where in like Zoom seminars though or webinars where basically we can gather together
Yeah,
and basically like a normal seminar except that it's online.
yeah.
Different
It
styles coming together.
it works out okay, but still, it's not the same thing.
Yeah, I
But
know.
but we need to make the best out of the situation,
Yeah,
actually,
exactly. Then
and
yeah,
and this is what it is.
yeah.
So um,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Dennis has a question. Do you still have the same connection to the IMB and to Cacoy Doce Pares, or did it change since the sad passing of both?
Of course, it changed because both Grandmaster Cacoy and Grandmaster Basilio passed away, so they're not there anymore as a part of family. So this has changed. However, I still have good contacts to the new owners of the IMB, which is Steve de la Cruz and Nicole Mangabat. They have been longtime students of Grandmaster Bastillo in Los Angeles, in Torrance, California. And they took over the academy. And I also have good connections to Grandmaster Chuck Canete and Grandmaster John Mack at the headquarter. And also this has cut it down due to the restrictions of travel. However, we see each other online on a quite regular basis.
On a regular basis. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we get a video here of the IMB before we proceed to Doce Pares.
Yeah.
I want to show this video, the IMB one.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, I'm gonna lower myself down. Feel free to talk about it.
Okay. Well, looks like I have a delay. Okay, this is actually coming up the Iron Dragon Eskrima Academy, which is the style Master Dean and myself of the school we created out of the experiences. Or here you can see standard disarms, standard counter, and also you have some possibilities to lock and throw. This is how you go around to your obstacle, how you hit the partner, and here you have some entries for locks. And this is basically Escrito, which Grandmaster Cacoy designed out of his experience of Eskrima, Aikido, Judo, Jiu-Jitsu. He brings all together and make the locks working with the stick. And this is in combination with what we saw before, the Paru Sud, where you strike and you like to get into your strikes. Out of the flow, you like to get in the locks too. So the locks I'm showing here are basically basic locks, and you have to make it work in Paru Sud. Out of the flow, out of the free flow. You're back again. Okay. Yeah, that has been a seminar in Paris, France, for my friend Alexandre Debeau. He also has been an IMB student, and he invited me to come over to France to teach some of the stuff which I learned in the Philippines. And yeah, basically what you can see in the videos are basic counters, blocking, countering, and then you go for looking for disarm or throw. And this is called Escrito. Aikido and Eskrima combined. And the reason why is the Iron Dragon Eskrima Academy, after the passing of Grandmaster Cacoy and Grandmaster Richard, my training partner and myself thought about, okay, what do now? What do we do now? We're looking for another person to be our instructor or whatever. And we decided no, we have so many materials still to cover from the past years, from the seminars, from the videotapes we have, from the different experiences we both have. What we will do is we will bring all this together, spar it out. So we do techniques in sparring and see what will work for us.
Yeah.
Out of all that stuff we have, and bring this together to one teaching system. And this does not only contain the Cacoy Doce Pares, we have the full curriculum, of course, but in addition, we also teach what other FMA styles Richard was influenced by. And he has trained with a lot of people back in the days. Like, I think it was Daniel Santos' mother pointing them to Daniel Santo and Sifu Richard to Leo Giron in Stockton, and also Angel Cabales.
Yeah.
It has been Sifu Richard's father and uncle who pointed them to Floro Villabril in Hawaii. So they seeked out Floro Villabril, and he pointed them to San Francisco to Master Ben Lagusa. And over the connections between those in Stockton, California, and San Francisco, they meet the other grandmasters and masters, where they train with, like Braulio, I think Perdoy from the Robio Eskrima.
Oh, from
I
the
think
Rubio, yeah.
I think they still have a group in Hawaii. I think he also trained with a guy like Filianzo Maxiante. That was that was a Eskrima fighter. Flora Villabril pointed them to, because Sifu Richard asked Flora Villabril who's the best Escrimador.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, this guy gave me one of my hardest fights. So if you're not here and can able to train with me, you go and visit this guy. And then Richard did seek out the guy and found him. And he was surrounded by some younger guys, younger Filipino guys. And at first he asked, who are you and what do you like to know from me? And they said, okay, we are students. Your old friend Flo Brill they told us to go and see some stuff.
Yeah.
And then the younger guys started to talk Tagalog and exchanging money. And Dan said to Sifu Richard, I think they expecting a fight now. They're doing bets over here. and the master had a stake in his hand already, and Sifu Richard too. And he said, okay, should I fight the guy now, or what happens here? And to resolve the situation, he said, okay, we don't come for trouble. We like to show you what we have learned, and we like to ask you if you can show us some stuff. So he showed some forms they learned, and then the guy calmed down, and the younger guys get disappointed because they have no bets and nothing to win. He also trained with the Telesoro Suping, I think, from the Moro style. And Sifu Richard told me that has been the first time he saw the Dumok, the grappling part of the Filipino martial arts. And so he had a lot of instructors. Maybe I forgot some of them. Momoy Kanyeta, of course. He was the elder brother of Grandmaster Cacoy, and his style was San Miguel Eskrima. And they have interesting training methods. They also have a rope whip, which is like 3.5 meters long, very heavy, and they're using it. If you can circle it and do the crack with the whip, this is good body training all over body, and it's a good training for the San Miguel strike, which is number 1, number 3 in different systems, but it's a forehand strike. So they don't use the whip to fight, but they use the whip to train their abilities to strike. Same true for throwing knife. They also use throwing knife. It's the same movement, but this is for accuracy.
Yeah.
So they're supporting the stick fighting by other training methods, and I really like that idea. They also train with metal chains. You go around the ahol, which is a rice stomper, which like 1.50 meter maybe, big like this.
Yeah.
And in the middle, it's thinner, but on both ends, it's bigger to stomp the rice, and they're using this for training too.
Yeah.
And I like that kind of idea, and so I had a look into the San Miguel. I had a chance.
That's very interesting when you mentioned about the whip, because one of the things that my instructor in my first instructor in Lightning, Elmer Ibanez, told me as part of my training is to get a towel.
Yeah.
And basically use the forehand and the backhand. Okay. And if I can make it crack, then I'm doing my strikes properly.
Yeah. Then if everything straightens out and let flow, then you have the right movement, then you have the right technique.
Yeah.
And then it works.
Yeah. And basically you know exactly when your muscles should be relaxed and
That's
should be
right.
tense. So
When
yeah,
I first entered the IMB Academy in Los Angeles, you go in on the right side was the counter, actually, where Sifu had his chair and office and stuff, and he had a class vitrine with all the swords in it, and also this rope whip, really long rope whip. And I was asking him, Sifu, where got you this rope whip from? He said, "Oh, Grandmaster Momoy made him himself because Momoy was a rope maker."
yeah,
Um, And I said, "So how do you get it?" And he said, "Me and Abner Pasa, we trained with Cacoy Canete, and he made this whip. And he said, who can make it crank on the
yeah.
first try can take it back home."
Oh,
And I said, "Okay, and here it is." I said, "Yep, here it is."
wow,
I
wow.
always, I always try to get one of the originals, but I never done it. And then a guy here in Germany, Dirk, I forgot his surname, but Dirk, he's training with San Miguel for a long time, and Grandmaster Chuck visited me here in Germany, and he also knows Grandmaster Chuck, and he asked if he can come to his place. I said, of course, he can go. And when Grandmaster Chuck came back, he gave me a rope whip, like Mama had one, and I was like, oh yeah, thank you.
See those basically training methods that you experience with GM Bustillo and GM Cañete. They're they're basically like treasures as well when it comes to training.
Yes, actually, they both have the same understanding.
Mm,
Sifu Richard was always on hands. So what I
mm,
really liked on the IMB Academy was they had a ring, a box ring. And in some schools, you go in and there's always a guy who's saying, okay, he claims he can do and this and that in the ring, and he will knock everybody out. And at the IMB Academy, I witnessed this one time, and Sifu told this guy, oh, that's not a problem. Here is a ring, and here's one of my guys. So step in and show what you can do.
hmm.
And you see the collar going out of the of the face of the guy, and he said, no, I don't like to hurt anybody. And Sifu said, see, this guy's coming here to get hurt, so don't worry. That's fine. The guy quit it out, but there's no discussion in the gym about
Okay.
this.
Mm.
So there's no talking about things you might can do or not. You, if you like, if you think you can do it, okay, go to the boxing ring, or put on your helmet and your gloves
Exactly.
and show what it is.
Yeah, spar.
Yeah, and it's not a claim to don't deliver what you claimed before.
Exactly.
It is an experience which you take back to yourself and say, okay, then I have to train more. That's the end
Yeah,
of the story.
yeah. Learn from the pain.
Yes, I wish sometimes there would be other possibility, but most times it isn't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so when you met GM Cacoy Canete,
Yeah.
that that kind did that spark your repeated uh, going to the Philippines or joining to the Philippines?
Yes, actually, as I mentioned, I met him first at 2005. We had breakfast together. 2006, he came to Germany, which was also an impressive experience because I think he was 85 or 86 years old at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked me to pick him up at 8. Of course, I was late, like 5 or 10 minutes, and he already was waiting in the lobby,
Okay.
dressed and had his stuff, and said, "Oh, Grandmaster, I'm sorry because of the traffic." And he said, "Oh, I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning." What the heck? That guy is 85. He woke up at 5 o'clock. I barely could open my eyes at 5 o'clock. Okay, but he was fit. He was okay to go. I brought him his bananas and
Mm-hmm.
his green tea everywhere he go outside the Philippines. He had bananas, green tea,
Mm-hmm.
salmon, broccoli, and still water, and that's it.
All right.
Yeah,
That's
but
that's basically his
his
diet
diet,
then.
yeah, but his brain was phenomenal. So he remembers everything. When I
Mm.
drove around with him through Germany. 2 years later, I met him back in the Philippines in 2008, and he said, Tobias, you remember the highway exit number 42, whatever the name was, blah blah blah. I said, no, and that's not freaking possible. You cannot remember the highway exits, numbers, and names, which we go. But I looked it up later on the map, and he was right. So he had a phenomenal memory.
Well,
And
man, if he can produce all those moves almost in a very artistic way, I would say.
it's he had a 30-second demonstration on an anniversary,
Mm-hmm.
and he did the same lock in 10 different variations I have never seen before. It has been the set lock all the time, but he managed to do it from 10 different angles, and I was okay. You can do it that way. Everything he does. The problem was when you ask him, Grandmaster, can you show this technique again? He said, no. When you attack me right now, the energy and the intention will be different. So I will do something different. It will show up later sometimes, but not right now. So, and that was and I was in awe when I saw him moving. He had a bad knee from Aikido, so when he get older, he couldn't stand up easy. So somebody need to help him, and somebody need to help him on the mat, and he used the stick to walk. But in the moment he bows and had a stick in his hand, he stands straight, and his eye was like, okay, let's go. And you're like, what the heck? It was incredible.
Yeah, I've seen a few grandmasters who are like that. For them to walk from one place to another, took them a while. But the moment they do their demo,
and from one who has been on the wrong side of his stick, let me tell you, this is not fake.
No.
The first demonstration I witnessed or have been part of has been in Frankfurt, Germany. We had a break, like 30-minute break, and Grandmaster Cacoy said, Tobias, come here. Let's do demonstration. I thought, what kind of demonstration he'd like to do? And okay, we started in the cross hand position, so hand against hand and stick against stick. And then you try to go around and try to strike through the openings. But I thought before I went on the mat, okay, this guy is like 60 years older than you. How hard can this be? That was stupid at that time in AF. And actually, I couldn't see what he was doing. We had half a circle, and then he started to throw me around and lock me and hammered me into the floor. And that was the best lesson in humility, to get humbled in 3 minutes. And after the sparring, he asked me to help him back to the seat, and we sit down. And I said, I don't know what you have done. And he said, you can watch it on video. Your friend has it. So if you like to see more, you come and seek me out.
You can now with technology, you can even slow it down.
Unfortunately, we haven't videotaped everything. He also showed like single stick against Espada y Daga in a free flow, and he was really mean to it. And he watched, as soon as the dagger moves, he hit the hand first, hand, head, and hand again in a split of a second, like he was like that, like they called him the machine gun when he was younger. So, but because he had like 8 strikes a second when he was younger, and that fascinated me, and so I decided to go whenever I can and afford it. I like to go to the Philippines and to see more of this.
And then it's a follow-up question. Okay, the many times that you were in Cebu, What was your most horrible? What was the most horrible thing you experienced, and the most wonderful once in your life in Cebu?
One of the most horrible things was, karaoke is the curse of Cebu. And actually, Grandmaster Cacoy always said, "You're not afraid to fight, so you're not afraid to sing. If you come to my house, you have to fight and you have to sing." So after the seminars, we had kind of a party, and the house was crowded. It was outside and inside the living room. And when I went inside the living room, Cacoy said, "Tobias, now it's time for you to sing." And I was like, "Oh no, I'm a horrible singer." And if you ever have been on a Filipino karaoke party, you know the Filipinos can sing. All
They,
Filipinos can sing.
man,
I can't. I can't. I can't.
serious
I
about it.
can't.
Karaoke,
So,
dead serious about it.
so on that time, Cacoy had a bad knee. It was swollen, so it was lying on a chair, and he couldn't stand up. So I started to sing, and I realized all people in the room left beside of Cacoy
Oh,
because he couldn't walk away. That, that was how bad I was singing.
Dennis is asking, what song did you sing?
I'm just a gigolo, and that was that was horrible. And
Okay, let's go to the great experiences that you the
yeah,
wonderful ones.
the great experience was I have been due to this gathering in the Philippines. I have been able to meet all these people and to train with a lot of different people. And I was lucky enough to also met and talk for some minutes with Grandmaster Roland Dantes, because Kako invited him to the gathering.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
The late Roland Dantes, yeah.
half a year later, he passed away. So it was one of the very last chances to see him, and that was also
sorry,
yeah.
sorry. Before it, Dennis said, and we have it in YouTube. The Gigolo. We will send you
Thank
after
you, Davis.
the
I knew he would come up with that, but you can see if you see the video, I'm not a liar. This is as bad as I said.
No, okay, sorry, sorry. I have to stop you.
um, actually, Cacoy called Grandmaster Dantes to come to the gathering, and he said, uh, "Grandmaster, you know that I'm not living in Cebu anymore. I'm living in Australia."
Hmm.
And Cacoy said, "So what's the point? So get in the plane and come here." And actually, he did. But yeah, due to this stay in the Philippines, I could spend time with really nice people and learn a lot of stuff. And
Hmm.
I'm really thankful for that experience, because until today, um, I have good connections with Grandmaster Chuck and Grandmaster John, and can ask for advice if I need, or whatever it is technically. And they always are there to help. Um, and there are many things on the Philippines, like Dennis mentioned. We went to Dennis and myself went to a trip to waterfalls. This
Okay.
is like 3 hours by car from Cebu. I forgot the name. Man. It's not far to go, but it's a long way to pass through the jungle and stuff, and the roads are not too good. So we went for 3 hours, and the driver was using the horn constantly.
Okay.
And after 1.5 hours, I counted how many times he used the horn in 1 minute. So what do you guess?
In 1 minute,
Yeah,
um, maybe about 50.
38 times in 1 minute, but he did it constantly from the start to the end, 3 hours straight. So when we arrived, we came to the waterfalls, and they had different levels. Like ground floor, you have a lake and a waterfall flowing in, and then you can go up to the sewers, which is pretty. But you have to go with a guide, 2 or 3 guides. And when we
Mhm.
came out on the parking lot, 10 guides were standing around, and Dennis and deal something out, like we can go to the ground level with 3 guys. I forgot about the price, but anyway, the others can hear what we talked about, the other guides. So we went to the first level, and we have been a group of 6 persons. Everybody besides Dennis and myself left later on, and we were the only ones to decide to go up to the sewers to have the whole trip. And we like to talk about the money, and the guy said, "Oh no, we will do on the way." Later on, I understood they have to share all the money they earn with every guide.
Yeah.
Down there. So the other guys knew about the first amount of money we agreed on, so they will share this, but they don't know what we agreed on the going up to the source of the waterfalls. Anyway, we went up to the source. Pretty nice place. On the top of our tour, we sit down, looking around the jungle, and then I said to one of the guides, "Sir, you have a tattoo on your leg?" He said, "Oh yeah, then that's a tattoo from Cebu." And Dennis asked, "Are you in a gang?" And he said, "Yes, I'm in a gang in Cebu." Okay, what are you doing here? Because this is like 3 hours by car away. He said, "We got trouble in a bar, and you know how things go, and we punched, and I shot one guy, and he passed away. So I went to the jail." Okay. It still doesn't explain what you're doing here. And he said, "Yeah, we paid the family, but I'm not allowed to go back to Cebu again." And I pulled Dennis aside and said, "Okay, did I understood it right? We are alone here with 3 guys in a jungle. Nobody knows where we are. This guy has shot somebody in Cebu. Have we talked about the money we give to them?" And they said, "No, we haven't." And I said, "Maybe everything we have." But at the end of the day, they were excellent guys, really friendly. We took the trip down from the top, and for another 2 hours, and we had a lot of fun with the guys talking about basketball and what we are doing here, and yeah. So,
Yeah.
but in that moment, on top of that waterfall, sitting alone, I was okay. This is some of the don'ts you don't do in Cebu. You need to have known somebody where you are, maybe just to rescue later on.
Yeah. Dennis said the moment, yeah, you almost collapse.
Yep.
Okay, so Dennis has another question here. Who made your body uh, more pain, or who inflicted more pain in your body? Senior Grandmaster Cacoy or Grandmaster John Mac?
Grandmaster John Mac for sure. Because Cacoy was gentle enough to be patient with me, and Grandmaster John, we had a lot of sparrings, and a lot more than I had with Grandmaster Cacoy. And you cannot spar Cacoy, you just can be his demonstration partner, because there is no way you can do anything. He controls you all the time. And yeah, Grandmaster John, I need to say. The last time we had a session here in Frankfurt, after one weekend, I was so black and blue all over. I looked like a blueberry muffin when I went to the shower. But you learn from pain.
Yeah, yes, we all do. We all do. We learn from pain. Okay, so you have studied under Grandmaster Richard Bustillo. You have studied under Grandmaster Cacoy.
That's
Okay,
true.
and you've done basically a lot of sparring time with Grandmaster John Mac.
John Mac, yeah.
Yeah, John Mac. Um, how how did they influence you? Like, for example, um, maybe the way you teach, the way you understood certain skills. How did they influence you? The three of them.
Grandmaster John Mac, as I mentioned, we had a party at Cacoy's house, And when everybody was singing karaoke, eating stuff, he was standing on the tires and still go bam, 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 bam. He never stops training, and
Okay.
he has an eye for perfection. He can summarize what Grandmaster Cacoy showed his his training partners or his students by doing demonstrations. What people most time don't recognize, when he stand up and doing a demonstration, Grandmaster Cacoy always had a topic. So the topic could be counter strikes. So you will have videos where he just do striking, no locks, but he shows how to strike, how to go around the obstacles using curving strikes and stuff like, or control the hands. Other videos, he shows disarming and lock and throwing. And then on others, he show how you mix it all up.
All right.
And Grandmaster John, he always had an eye of what Grandmaster Cacoy is showing, and remembering it, break it down so you can follow the technique, follow the steps. But at the end of the day, you have to do your training yourself. He is a constant inspiration on consistency and how good you can become if you really put stuff into it.
Yeah.
And Grandmaster Cacoy, he's explored the borders of Eskrima for me. So he started with Espada Daga for 25 years only.
Okay.
So the first 25 years he had Espada Daga only. And long and short, this brings a lot of coordination.
Yeah.
So later on, he was able to use this coordination to transfer judo throws and aikido throws and jujutsu throws to using with a stick. If you have a stick in one hand, you cannot grab with both hands because one is your stick. So he pulled out the punyo like that long.
Yeah. So he
and
can use it for hooking.
Hooking here. Yeah. So you can use this as a hook. So this is replacement for the grip of the hand. And when I picked him up at a hotel in Frankfurt, when I arrived late, he said, Tobias, later on we need to try a new disarm. I dreamed of a new disarm, and I'd like to see if it works. So I tell you how to attack, and I did, and I lost my stick later on. But that's his mind working at night too.
Okay.
So
Well, yeah, by the fact that he said he dreamt of it.
Yeah. So that was Grandmaster Cacoy, and he never said I developed a technique or something or I created it. He said Eskrima showed me the technique because my level of skill raised. So he said Eskrima is the bigger being and the bigger concept. And once you have, every time you raise your level of skill, new possibilities will show.
Yeah.
And what most impressed me in his age is like every year he reflected what he has learned, which technique he used in sparring, which techniques work in sparring. So the techniques work in sparring, he will take over to the next year and work harder on it. The techniques which doesn't work in sparring, he skipped away, and he did this every year. So his style constantly changing and constantly improving.
It's always evolving.
Yes, and also he adapted his style and his techniques to his age. When he was maybe only 83 or something, he really took people down on throwing them based on the legs. So like in judo, you have a sweep with the leg. So he sweep people on the leg. But later on, when he became older and his knee injury came up, he couldn't do that anymore. So he transferred his locking from the feet to the head. So a lot of times you see head manipulations he's doing, and this is why, because he changed from the feet sweeps to the head because of his new body attributes he had.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
and this was impressive to see.
It
And
is actually impressive to know as well that he adjusted things when he
all the
was growing
time,
old.
all the time, all the time. So you can see his style constantly changing, and people maybe learned the style 20 years ago, didn't learn the same thing as I did, or
Yeah,
people in between. So
I think which is this that is like a common thing amongst grandmasters as well. Anyway, because even like in lightning, if I speak to like a grandmaster who have learned from Ben when
yeah,
he was younger, he basically emphasizes slightly different things when he was a bit older. So
yeah.
there were some things that really changed as well, and it evolved.
And
Yeah,
on Grandmaster Bastillo impressed me most. He was very open-minded. So he had all the ranges. He had the grappling, he had the Jeet Kune Do, he had the boxing, he had the Thai boxing and the Eskrima. And also in Eskrima, he had a big background. And then everything he learned, he put it down he, with Jeet Kune Do principles. So
mm,
longest weapon, closest target, simple, direct, effective,
yeah,
uh, attack by drawing, stuff like that. All of that those concepts he used on every art he had, and Jeet Kune Do is constant breakdown, a constant cutting of unnecessary movements.
yeah,
So if you have a straight lead, okay, this quite looks okay, but you can improve every day. You can cut down the
yeah.
motion
Unnecessary moments.
and leave away the unnecessary things, which makes you faster.
Mm,
And this is also what Grandmaster Cacoy did. When you see him like 20 years ago to
mm,
sparrings he did lately before his passing, he becomes shorter and shorter and shorter. And that makes the impression he is much younger, because
yeah.
I couldn't follow. I was 30 maybe, but I couldn't follow the man. He was like, "Pa, pa, 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 pa." And
Mm,
everywhere you feel the hits coming at you. But back to Grandmaster Bastillo, and also when he had this Jeet Kune Do concepts, he rolled it out to the grappling, to the Jeet Kune Do, even to the boxing, because he loved boxing so much. But he used also the Filipino concept of angles of attack
mm-hmm.
for his boxing system. So he became certified Olympic boxing coach, I think, back in the 80s somewhere.
Oh, really?
And he won second place for the best technique, and he showed his 12 angles of attack, and he has the 12 angles of attack from the principle of the Filipino system.
Oh,
So
wow! I didn't know that.
yeah, and that was how he built up everything. So you have a good concept, you make it transferable to others,
Mm,
and he always had the IMB trilogy. Like IMB means like actually International Martial Arts and Boxing,
yeah.
but in the original logo there has been an eagle, tiger, and a dragon also within the logo, and the the dragon is the internal spirit, and
Mm-hmm.
the eagle is the mental attitude, as good as a leader can be, and the
Yeah.
tiger is the physical strength.
Physical strength. Okay.
So all the three need to come together to success, and to progress in your life or martial arts. And from this aspect of free, this is a concept which goes through the whole system. Like you have offense, defense, counter. This
Yeah.
is how it trained. So we have free again. You have largo, medio, corto, which is the long distance, medium distance,
Yep.
and the close
Mm-hmm.
distance. You have light, firm, and hard.
Okay.
And this concept of free is important in IMB. So if you train something, maybe you do it first standing with your partner, then you do it standing against resistance, and then you do it standing against resistance and move around.
Okay.
And those 3 stages help you to build up your abilities, because
Yeah.
you're not only doing it in front of a mirror, you're not only doing it standing on a pad, you do it standing, moving, and you build it up. And this is what I like most on Grandmaster Bastilo's teachings. He had a very progressive way of teaching, so you can
Wow.
you can follow. You get your defense first. When you have a good defense, then you can go into some light sparring. Because if you're not if you don't know if you can block an incoming blow, you always fight for your life, because
Yeah.
you are feared you get hit and you don't know what to do. If you have good defense first and good structure first, then you calm down, and because you can block a blow, or you can avoid it, or whatever.
Yeah.
You don't eat every blow, so you can calm down and you can try to do something out of that. But first, set up your basic defense. Defense
That's
is
really
important
important.
because self-defense has the word defense in it. So
Yeah. Exactly.
if
Yeah.
you're not able to defend yourself, the rest will not work too.
Yeah. Exactly.
But those are and this concept which Grandmaster Bastillo had, Master Dino, myself, Master Dino Ramic, who's my 20-year training partner, we bring together now in our Iron Dragon Eskrima Academy, and we called it like this because Sifu Richard has been the Iron Dragon of Jeet Kune Do.
Yeah.
It was his nickname because when he and Guru Dan started the Filipino Kali Academy, and later on the IMB Academy, which was at first the Inosanto Martinez Bastillo Academy, and later on become International Martial Arts and Boxing. Every time a student misbehaved to other students or he didn't pay the fee, Sifu Richard handled the troubleshooting, and therefore he was called the Iron Dragon of Jeet Kune Do.
I see. Okay.
And to reflect that we follow the teachings of Grandmaster Bastillo, we named it like the Iron Dragon Eskrima Academy. And still the concepts of the IMB, how you build up your training, work on your basics, is important to us. And also we believe that you only can progress if you do your technique under stress and maybe in sparring.
That's true. Yeah.
But sparring need to get built up. People need to get ready for sparring, so you have different progressions of sparring.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it's one thing to put on a helmet and give them the stick and say good luck and keep going and see what will happen.
True. That's true. That's true.
The student will learn something from it, but maybe he will get more feared about the art than it's good for him. So we have a progression in sparring, and everything we train, everything we teach, actually, we tested in sparring for ourselves, and out of this experience, we put it into the system and like to give this back to the students so they don't have to go through unnecessary pain.
Yeah.
We like to be people safe training, but on the other hand, if you don't like to get hurt, then you don't choose martial arts as a hobby. You go for maybe chess or whatever, but then martial arts is not the right thing for you.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. So how long has your school been operating in Germany?
Actually, we just came up with this last year. Before that, we went to the IMB Academy in Frankfurt.
I see. Okay. All right.
So Dino and myself gave classes over there, like Jeet Kune Do and Eskrima, of course. But due to the pandemic, everything shuts down there, and now we're starting to bring up everything new. And I hope we can do next year some Zoom classes or whatever. Whoever is interested and like to see what basics we teach and how we set
Yeah.
up our training, and what we learned from our teachers and how we like to reflect it. This
Yeah. Yeah. Let me
everybody
know.
is quite welcome, and
Yeah.
yeah, I will send a link over as soon as I'm
Yes, please.
technically ready to
Yes.
do it.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
We'll help you promote it in through FMA discussion as well.
we thank you. We focused a lot on sparring espada y daga because from
Oh,
what
I
we
love
have,
Espada Itaga.
yeah, in some systems or some teachers, you see techniques and people standing and doing stuff and then endless locks and flows, and but this all don't work
Mm.
for us. Because if you really have somebody with a knife and a sword, he try to kill you with the stuff.
Yeah,
Then you
exactly.
have other things to do as to stand around and try to get in some kind of strange lock. So you need to understand how you can deflect a blow or
Yeah.
parry
Yeah.
a flow and stuff.
And
You need
plus
to,
manage the range
yeah,
because you got a weapon that has two different lengths as well.
and also the sword changing the game because with a stick, if I lose a thrust to your chest, this might
Nothing.
hurt with a stick,
Yeah.
and it's a blue point. Fine, but with
Yeah.
with a sword,
It's a different story.
it's a different story, and
Yeah.
also you can hit hard with a sword like with a stick, of course,
Mm.
but it's a waste of energy because you don't need to.
Mm.
A small cup, this is good enough. So the game is changing when you do this in sparring, and also you should honor if you get hit. When you see some people having the armor on and they hammering to each other and no
Mm.
defense at all, this is good for the bravery part,
Mm.
but for self defense, I would
It's not.
expect more.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
it's the wrong way to train for self defense.
Yeah.
And the way we train is like we have fencing mask and we have gloves,
Mm-hmm.
and on good days we have elbow protection. I highly can recommend elbow protection.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then we start to spar and really try to hit each other, and then things coming to a different technical point, and this is exactly where we need to work on. Your style need to be identified the way you spar. If you see different styles fighting each other, and then you can get the impression everybody doing the same stuff
Mm-hmm.
because everybody's going the number one, the number two, bam, bam, bam. Everybody can do that. But what need to be viewable from the outside is that this is Cacoy Doce Pares or this is the Iron Dragon Eskrima
Mm-hmm.
because of the key things we use.
Yeah.
Like in Illustrissimo, it might be the Arco, which is a signature move
Yeah.
for some, or the Salto. There you can see, okay, this guys belongs to this system. One of my teachers, Sifu Jetkamp in Frankfurt, who's my senior at IMB,
Mm-hmm.
he's doing also Shaolin Kung Fu, and I watched the guys doing the sparring, and he said, "See, I don't like that we win every time when we do fight or spar,
Yeah.
but I like everybody to realize to be able to see we doing Shaolin Kung Fu." And I said,
Okay.
"Okay, yeah, that's a good point actually." And we have the same target, and we like to reflect that people can see we doing really stuff which we get teached, and we don't fall back to just the basic
Mm.
caveman style
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
it
That's
comes to
true.
when it comes to sparring. That's actually the target behind that. Yeah.
Ah. Yeah. Actually, you've got the point there because especially when you want to learn, when you want to explore
Yes.
developing skill sets that is good for self defense.
Yeah.
You really need to think. You can't just revert to caveman sparring. So
you need to be honest to yourself and honest to your training partner. So every time I get hit, I will raise my hand or point to the place I get hurt. And still, this does not reflect a real injury. All right. This is we have safety gear. If you hit my head with the stick, I can feel, but I don't get knocked out most times. But you need to have this in mind. Still, sparring is not a real fight. Still we have safety. Still we have somebody who don't really like to harm me, just like do training. But it's not a personal thing. Like, excuse me, I didn't know it was your wife. Excuse me, sir. This is never part of the sparring. And also we have most times perfect environment. Nothing is it's a clean dojo. Nothing's lying around. But in the world, you have the street. There's dirt. There's trash, and maybe things standing around. You have no idea. And also, when we do sparring, 1-to-1, nobody from the side will jump in and help me or my friend here. But in reality, this can happen.
This can happen. Yes, exactly.
And you need to be aware of this. You need to be honest to yourself that technique is technique, sparring is sparring, fighting is fighting. It's a different story. But we like to progress through technique and sparring to be able to fight.
Yep. Well put.
But you need to build this up slowly.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I cannot believe people who are saying like we teach you fighting like in 6 months. What you can teach is you can teach techniques for sure, 2 or 3 which you can repeat and which maybe work, but you never ever learn to fight in 6 months. I just don't believe that.
Yeah. It's you've got a valid point there actually. It's you need to have you need to have exposure. You need to have you need to gain that experience through exposure, basically.
You need to have the technique. You need to have the perfectness of the technique. Because if your technique is not perfect, under stress you're losing like 30, 40, maybe 50% of your technique.
True. That's
if
true.
your technique is just 50% and you're losing 50% in the
that's it. You don't have it anymore.
That's the end of the story.
Yeah, exactly. That's
the reason why I like perfection so much. And lately I watched a video with Master Kurt McCoon from Giron Arnis. He showed something with the Tang Salong in the backyard of his house, and you can stop the video at every point, and he's in perfect position and perfect distance. You can stop it and put a straight line through his body where you can see he is in the perfect position. He cut it here, he cut it there. And so it was with Grandmaster Bastillo. So it was with Grandmaster Cacoy. You can stop the picture of the video, make a shot, and put it into a book about eskrima. That's how it needs to look like. Nothing else, nothing less. This is how it should be.
How it should be. Okay.
And this is what I really love, because then you can see people are committed to their art. People love their art. If you have patience for the art, if you have a love for the art, learn it good, and teach it to somebody else.
Yeah, that's true.
Because if you don't share, it goes away.
It goes away. Yeah, exactly. That's very true.
And the old guard of grandmasters is almost gone completely. Like in the past years, a lot of grandmasters passed away.
Yeah,
and that's also it is important to have different generations here. My senior grandmasters like Grandmaster Ron Lu or Grandmaster Anthony Kleeman and Grandmaster June Caudiverio and Grandmaster Vince Palumbo, they are in their 50s or 60s right now. So you need to have new people coming in and driving the system.
Yeah.
And
I completely agree. Yes.
and grandmaster is not a title to go
Mm.
out and be, it's me, see my bolero and stuff and how good.
Yeah.
No,
No.
it is a responsibility. You have the responsibility to develop the system,
Mm.
to promote the system, and to
Mm.
make sure that the masters have a good quality, and the masters make sure the black belts have a good quality,
Yeah.
and so on.
Exactly. Exactly.
But this is a responsibility, and not a thing you get to push your ego.
Yeah. To be popular.
Yeah, this is very popular today, but
Yeah.
I cannot
I think
understand.
that's one of the things that some or maybe a lot of the new generation instructors are missing the
Yeah, but
acceptance that when they have that rank, it comes with a heavy responsibility.
this is our fault. We haven't teach them, right?
Mm.
It was teach to us through our teachers,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Sifu Bastillo used to say, "This is your new rank. Don't get a big head about it."
Exactly, exactly.
And yeah, this is also part of the teaching, how you behave and how you pay respect, and also it is
Mm.
important for, especially for Filipino martial arts, if you go to the Philippines.
Mm.
If you come to some place and say we like to play, you may end up in a situation you don't like to have.
Yeah,
You don't maybe have a fight. What you like to do is you like to introduce yourself and do a doing a salutation, which will show that you respect.
you respect. Yeah,
You don't came for fight. You came for learning. You're accepting the rules which are given
exactly.
there,
Yeah.
and you come in peace. And there are also salutations you shouldn't do because this is done to go into a fight.
Mm.
You know the heaven and the earth salutation. One point stick, one pointing a stick is
Yeah.
pointing to the air, and the other is to the ground.
Mm.
What this basically means is one will stay on earth and the other will go to heaven. So you should be careful with how you behave in different places.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's on us to teach, to give these teachings to the other generation.
Yeah, yeah, that is really important that we manage to impart that uh, teaching to the new generation.
And also I can see this fault with me because when we go for the training, I'm not very formal about ranks and stuff and salutations, but we should be, because it has a reason and it should be transported on. Bruce
I
Lee,
Yeah.
Bruce Lee didn't change the salutation
Hmm.
for that reason, right? He took over um, to behave in a different manner.
Mm.
To see, okay, I don't follow maybe the Wing Chun path, but I still have that salutation out of
Yeah,
respect. And
you actually have a good point there. Yeah,
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 but this is also something I learned from Sifu Bastillo, um, how you behave and um, how you honor your elders. This is an important part because
very important.
in the Philippines it is important to respect your elders. It should be normal everywhere anyway,
Yeah,
um, but basically when you do some things you learned, then you always mention who your teacher is, because you are not the source, you're just the
yeah,
guy who learned it
exactly.
and pass
Yeah,
it on right now.
yeah,
So you give the respect to that. And when we went to Cebu in 2008 and had a big gathering, um, we like having like 100 people in a big gym,
hmm,
and masters from other styles came in. And the first things they did was that went over to Grandmaster Cacoy and do the mano mano
yeah,
to respect
yeah,
Grandmaster Cacoy. And
yeah,
then they asked, okay, Grandmaster Cacoy, would it be okay if we join the seminar? And he said, of course it is. And a lot of those things are gone right now,
yeah.
from my feeling.
Well, I mean, yeah, you get the point there because I mean, it's one of those things that one of the things that you first learn when you join any martial art group. Learn how to basically learn how to show respect.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, I mean, there is a part wherein respect should be earned, but in the martial arts context, it is something that you should also learn.
Yes. And
Yeah,
it's also necessary because there are some rules are have good reasons to be there.
exactly.
So we both before each other before we start training. Okay, we're not fighting.
Mm,
If something happened to your training partner, he get injured or something, you stop training. You help him out. You
yeah,
don't let
that's
him
true.
go alone. Maybe he get a shock and fall on
That's
the
true. That's
floor.
true. That's true.
So you help your body,
Mm,
and this is something people need to know. And you also let your instructor know that you leave the
yeah,
mat with somebody who's injured,
that's true.
because if you don't say anything, he might don't know it. And
Mm,
all those little things, um, from my feeling, getting lost
yeah,
in a
it's
lot of
actually a
things.
nice reminder
Yeah.
for
So
everybody.
that was always important for Grandmaster Bastillo. You have good technique, you have good form,
Hmm.
how you move, and you have good manners.
Well said. Yep,
Huh?
I do completely agree. I do completely agree. Okay. Oh, we got one comment from Dennis. Remember when John told you that he has a stick in his bed because every day Cacoy showed him so much stuff
Yeah,
and hit him so a lot that he could
yeah,
not remember the stuff. And in the nighttime, when he was dreaming
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
about the techniques and woke up,
He woke
he said,
up
"Do
from
it
the
again."
woke up, and then he tried to remember what he has seen, and he did the stuff, and then he write it down, because his brain working at night what he has seen on the daytime. So sometimes there he woke up and have his notes then down written down, and can follow the other day. This is how deep these guys are in, like waking up in the night. Okay, let's disarm or do something. Blah blah blah. Um,
Maybe
yeah,
you need
this is
you need to have a camera standby now. Just
going
roll
all
it.
night. Going all night. Yeah,
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
yeah. But this is the commitment which
Yes.
leads to skills.
Mm, yes.
Grandmaster Cacoy, Grandmaster Basilo always said, a skill is God given. No, talent is God given. Skill is man made. This way, and that's true. He always said, everybody can become world champion, but you need to be trained like one.
Yeah.
If you like to become world champion, you cannot do 3 weeks nothing.
Yep.
You have to do
Mm,
every day or
mm,
2 times a day or whatever it takes
mm.
to get better. You have to put
Yeah.
effort in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing, nobody else will do this for you. You have to be responsible on your own.
Yeah.
So it's really up on you, um, how deep you go into the art.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not. Yeah. That is a nice reminder from GM Bustillo and GM Cacoy.
Uh,
Yeah. It's
so,
it's actually nice, basically, to be able to like learn more about them through you because you spend so much time
I
with
did,
them.
yeah. I did, and I'm really happy I did, because on sometimes I didn't have the money to go to the big trips, so I
Yeah.
tried to go to the smaller trips and
Yeah.
spend time. And I always volunteered to drive Grandmaster Bastillo around Germany if I could, because then we had 3 or 4 hours in the car, and we talk a lot.
Yeah.
And he told me about a lot of things, and that way you learn a lot too.
That's true.
I learned a lot as his dummy on the seminars, because what most people don't get on the seminar is the direct feeling when the grandmaster is doing something,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I like to volunteer
And
as the dummy in seminars.
when you see him boxing, he had bony fists, and sometimes he did the trapping and hit you trap die
Yeah.
and hit low. and he did this, and he hit me in the stomach, and I was like, okay, and it was just not more like this.
Yeah.
And he was a professional boxer, so I don't like to see him really throw out his
Yeah.
punches and
Yeah.
punch somebody. But they knew this is a different feeling as when you do it with a training partner.
Mm.
Your training partner have seen the technique. Okay, they can copy the technique, but they cannot copy the energy and the experience that those guys putting in.
Mm.
So this was also very very helpful to progress.
Yeah.
Because both Grandmaster Cacoy and Grandmaster Bastillo had this light touch. If they touched your stick and controlled it, it was a very light touch.
Mm.
You almost don't feel anything.
Yeah.
And until it was too late, until they did the lock or whatever they like to do, and to feel this light touch, and then you do it with another person, and everybody's like grabbing hard, and
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
completely different.
Yeah.
And it was like they touched a hot stone.
Mm.
But
Mm.
they always were in control of your hand, and
Yeah.
that was amazing to see, and that was amazing to feel. And you don't have this if you just, most times you don't have it if you are just a participant. You don't be a dummy and
Yeah.
experience what the guys show.
Yeah. You don't actually get to feel the energy behind
Yeah,
behind the technique. Yeah.
yeah. And
Wow.
this is important to know and to feel, um, because later on it makes a difference in your training.
Yeah.
Because when you hit the back with a punch, you think that was different from what Sifu did. So you try again, and you try again, you try again, until maybe you make it, until
Mhm.
you can show it again.
Oh. Okay. So, we're nearly 2 hours now in our
Oh,
interview.
really?
That, yeah,
Okay.
that
Okay.
was, but that was really enlightening. All the stuff
Thank
that
you.
you shared.
I
Yeah.
hope so.
Yeah.
So if you have questions afterwards, or anybody who watched it, don't hesitate to put it in the comments or send me a message. I will try to answer everything
Mm,
you came up with.
yeah. I mean, uh, because you managed to like train with them for a long time, you basically through you managed to share how they think, how they
I
how
hope
they
so.
how their minds work at one point. Yeah. So yeah, that is really helpful. That is really helpful.
I
Yeah.
hope so. Yeah. And if there's something which is really important in martial arts, then it is consistency and commitment.
That's true. That's very true.
And
Okay.
all of the people I mentioned today, all of them had it, and they passed this on to the students.
Mm.
And you have to pass it on too if you like to really show what they teach you.
Yeah.
If you leave this part away, then it isn't the original one.
Mm.
And I don't force people to be committed as we do.
Hmm.
For some, it's okay to come 2 days a week, and then that's it, and they never think about it between. But for those who really like to go into the art, commitment and consistency is the key.
Yeah. I think on that note, um, is there anything that you would like to say to for the FMA community
Oh,
as
many
well?
things, many things. Okay, maybe if you haven't done yet, seek out the next FMA training center, get a stick, and start Filipino martial arts. The style doesn't matter. Everything is good. You find your own way of Filipino martial arts. And as a general recommendation, I can give Irish phrase actually: speak soft and carry a big stick, and you will go far. So
That's that's nice. Yep. Okay. So thank you very much, GM Tobias. I mean, for coming in as our guest. It
thank
has
you very much
been,
for having me.
yeah, it was been a wonderful uh, exchanging thoughts with you, especially you sharing uh, your journey to FMA.
I hope
Uh,
so, and maybe some people will pick up and will become new practitioners now.
yeah, yeah, that's true. And yeah, and I would like to thank Christian for actually recommending you.
Thank you, Christian.
Yeah. So yeah, and I do hope that in the future when everything is okay, we'll be able to cross sticks.
We will do.
Yeah,
We will do.
yeah,
I will follow Christian, and we will meet up, and maybe also Master John Escudero.
yeah.
So
That would be great.
we can meet all and cross the
Yeah, have
sticks.
fun.
Yeah.
Have fun. Okay. All right. Thank you very much again, Grandmaster. Okay.
Thank you very much,
Stay
and
safe
have a
and
good
see you
night.
soon. And you. And you.
Bye bye.